Hello and welcome to the 8th part of the RWBY Fairy Tail fanfiction reading, The Huntress of Fairy Tail. So, a few things. Last time, in the 7th part, there was a problem and I didn't have enough space on my phone or something like that. I don't know what happened. I think I actually did run out of space, if I remember right. But that was like a week ago, and I'm not worrying about it right now. And I just didn't have any more time to record that day to talk about it. Also, that the not having any space won't be a problem anymore, since I have this sweet new phone that I don't know if you can actually tell the difference, but it's pretty sweet. Other things, I know it's been quite a while, but I recorded sort of recently the RWBY Watches Death Battle Part 3. Well, actually, let's go back to Part 2. So, during Part 2, I said, I'm going to do every other fanfiction reading being RWBY Watches Death Battle. I said that during Part 2. And then during Part 3, I said, I don't want to do, like 50 parts of it, which which I'm still thinking would happen if I decided to do all of them. Which is because there are some long ones, and at the beginning, because one of the things about the story was that, they'd only watch like 5 or so a night, and then, the next day they'd watch another 5. Well, they end up having gigantic conversations, or like huge just things that have nothing to do with RWBY watching Death Battle. So, there's like several paragraphs of just conversation and, all sorts of weirdness and things that I wouldn't normally read. And I also said that, I know that, like, the original Superman, the original Goku versus Superman is, like, pretty long, but the second one's, like, 30 minutes long. And after, like, going through and watching more stuff, I realized that the original one was about 30 minutes long, and the second one was only about 20 minutes long. So I realized that I had it backwards, which makes sense, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. But speaking of that, I decided that I was going to read the entire story, and throughout it, and when I started doing it, I was like, despite some of the weird, crazy stuff in this that I really wouldn't normally read and did not need to know about while reading this, I don't care. I do kind of want to read this. And then as I got towards the end of doing what I was reading, I was like, no, I don't want to read this anymore. But, whatever. So we're going to finally move on to Chapter 13 of The Huntress of Fairy Tail, Ito. And, yeah. Because I didn't get to even really start this during the last episode, because, everything kind of failed. So let's move along, now that we're 4.5 minutes in. A figure was seen towards Magnolia, which, again, sentence makes sense, doesn't it? It was a woman with long black hair, dark brown eyes, black lipstick on her lips, wearing a long black dress. So this is where the little huntresses are located, the woman said with a smirk on her face. Pretty soon they will be reduced into a pile of ash, and then Beacon Academy will suffer the same fate. I thought that we would find you here, a new voice said as multiple figures appeared and pointed their weapons at the woman. The shadow woman, Ito. The woman known as Ito looked behind her shoulder and saw Lahar standing behind her. "So it's you, Lahar," Ito said to the Rune Knight. "How long has it been? 5 years?" "Yes, 5 years since you betrayed the Magic Council and disappeared without a trace," Lahar said. You're still bitter about that? Why am I not surprised? You idiots in the Magic Council always hold a grudge. You've been keeping a low profile for this long. Why did you decide to resurface now? Why bother? It's not something the likes. Oh my god. I don't even understand, but I don't know. Let's just read it how I think the sentence is supposed to be, despite it still not making sense. Why bother? It's not something the likes of you could stop me now. Wait, no. No, that doesn't make sense either. What? I don't even know. A black aura, not a black aura, just black aura, surrounds Ito as she faced Lahar and his men. Lahar widens his eyes, knowing what Ito was planning to do. "Capture her," he ordered. "We can't let her use her shadow magic." "Too late," Ito said as she stuck her hand. What? Using her magic against the Rune Knights. 2 hours has passed since Katori lost consciousness after losing to Weiss. She opened her eyes and gritted her teeth in anger, realizing what happened. "Damn it," she cursed. "That brat, how did she obtain that type of magic?" She thought back to the moment when Weiss defeated her. "I'll make her pay for this. No one does this to me and lives to tell about it." My, what do we have here?" a deep male voice said, surprising Katori. "A member of the Nightwing Guild lying on the ground in defeat. That's pathetic." Katori looked up and saw a figure standing in the shadows. It was Seema. Katori struggles to her feet, her body shaking from the battle. "Seema, it's not what it looks like, I swear," she said, trying to explain herself. "Just give me one more chance. I promise you, I won't fail this time." "I don't have to remind you that in our guild, failure is not an option," Seema said. If you fail in a mission, the consequence is death. I've already with Kono." I think it's getting worse. I'm starting to not want to read this and, find out what happens. Because it's I can't even decipher some of these sentences now. Before I was like, oh, yeah, I know what's missing here, despite the fact that it really shouldn't be missing. But now I'm just like, how do you even make that into a sentence that makes sense? Now I'm wondering what to do with you. Katori widened her eyes, knowing why Seema is standing in front of her. "You didn't come all this way to give me a lecture, did you?" Katori questioned. "You came here to kill me." Seema didn't respond to the Dragon Slayer's statement. "Sorry to break it to you, but that's not happening. Besides, if I'm going down, I'm taking you with me." Katori used the magic energy she had left and created a huge ball of snow and ice in her hand. "Ice Dragon's Avalanche!" Katori released a blast of snow and ice at Seema, engulfing him in it. Katori smirked, thinking that she defeated one of the strongest members of her guild. No. Just no. I'm surprised she didn't lose to Weiss just in general. Before Weiss, found her Dragon Slayer powers or whatever she did. Oh no, wasn't... I think it was the, no, it was the God Slayer powers, that's what it was. She's so stupid. Despite you being a Dragon Slayer, you're not gonna take down one of like, you're not going to defeat one of the strongest members in your guild, especially when this is what it's... I don't even know. I just... Especially from what I've seen with this guild, it's like... There's no way one attack from a Dragon Slayer is going to take down one of their most prominent members. Like, how would that ever be possible? It's, like, never happened before. And you think you can do it? Yeah, that's so stupid. Anyways, the smirk disappeared when Seema stepped out of the snow and ice unharmed. Was that really all you had left? Seema asked. If how about as? Or not even, like, close to similar. As lightning bolts surrounds? Well then, let me show you what separates me from weaklings like you. Kotori let out a loud scream as the scene turned black. Yeah, that's what it is. It's production. Ruby started to stir, and the first thing she felt was a raging headache. The last thing she remembered was her battle against Emmy and getting knocked out trying to protect Natsu. She slowly opened her eyes, and the first thing she saw was lights on the ceiling. So you're finally awake, Yang's voice rang in Ruby's ear. She looked to her right and saw her older sister, who is lying in the bed to the right of her. Yang, Ruby said weakly. She looked to the left and saw Weiss lying on another bed and Blake sitting on a chair. Weiss, Blake, where am I? Ah, so you're finally awake, I see, another voice said. Ruby sat up and saw Makarov standing on her bed. You're back in the guild hall, my dear. Master Makarov, Ruby said. Am I really back at guild? That's right, Makarov said. While you were out, Blake explained to me what happened to you. I must say it was a dangerous gamble that you foretook, fighting those Dark Guild members by yourselves. But they started it, Ruby shouted, trying to defend her team. They attacked us first. I know that, just let me finish. But he didn't... He wasn't even slightly yelling at you. He wasn't even slightly angry with you. Ruby nodded as Makarov continued. Good, now I'm going to tell you about the guild who's trying to attack you. Makarov began to explain about the dark guilds in the guild that attacked the team Ruby Nightwing. Somewhere in the forest outside of Magnolia, Seema was walking with his hand in his pockets. His hand in his pockets. Wow. Did you eliminate those failures, Seema? A female voice said, causing the man to stop. Seema looked behind his shoulder and saw someone walking out of the shadows. It was a busty woman with black hair and white highlights, wearing a white sleeveless shirt and a white short skirt. Of course I did, Seema said. Well, but one at least. Did you deliver the package, Naya? Yes, it has been delivered as planned, Naya said with a smirk. How about you and I handle this last one together? Mistress Ito will be arriving soon. Seema nodded and the two wizards disappeared. Back at Beacon, Jean stood outside of Team Ruby's door with his partner Pyrrha. Nice spelling mistake. Like, how does everybody spell it wrong? Like... I don't... Like, I've seen it spelt so many different ways wrong. It's like, you can, I don't know, easily look it up on the internet. You can easily spell check things. Even though it's not really going to show up on spell check. But still! It just looks stupid. Anyways. knocking on it, but nobody answered. That's weird, Jean said. Nobody had seen them around the past few days. Did they go somewhere or something? I don't know, Pyrrha said, rubbing her chin. They didn't say about leaving Beacon for a while. What do we do now? Jean asked. I guess they have to wait until they come back. Oh my god! Pyrrha suggested. That way we can ask them what's going on. Sure, yes. Ask them what's going on once they come back. It's a smart idea. Yeah, I guess you're right, Jean said, turning around back to Team Juniper's doorstep. He looked at the doorstep, or Team Juniper's room. He looked at the doorstep and saw a package lying there. Don't think there's a doorstep in front of, like, dorm rooms. Just saying. He looked at the doorstep and saw a package lying there. Huh, what's this? Of course, nobody said. Let's look at these comments. Oh my god. You spelled Pierre wrong too? I hate you so much. Don't open it. I think they should probably open it. Although I don't exactly... Oh, is that how they got trapped in here? Is that how Team RWBY got trapped in here in the first place? That's probably... Yeah, it's okay. Alright, makes sense. I'm not surprised. I actually don't remember. How did they get trapped in here in the first place? Wasn't it like a book or something? Or is that just in RWBY Chibi? I don't even... No, well, they didn't get trapped in anything in RWBY. I don't know. Like, despite how I was going to make this into, like, a transition between, like, you know, having exclusively RWBY fanfiction and now having both RWBY and Fairy Tail fanfiction, because I was like, I want to do this. This sucks. like the story is good, but it's just so hard to read. So despite being towards the end of only the 13th chapter out of 19-ish, since there isn't 19 chapters, there's 18 chapters in a chapter, so, you know, I might try to read this on my own, but, yeah. Not gonna do this anymore. No. No more of this garbage. Yep. So yeah, this story will not be continued. The next video you will see will be something else. It's possibly something that's been shown already. I don't know exactly how long the next fanfiction on the list is going to take to complete. You know, I really like the ones that are like, you can finish them in one episode, but this is obviously not it. Super long. The story's nice, but it's difficult to read.